This is Section 4, Organic Compounds. We use the word organic a lot in just our culture, and if you go to the grocery store, you see it a lot. And organic means two different things. When you're talking about food, organic typically means that it is grown without pesticides and grown naturally, and so it's certified organic. In chemistry, organic really means that it contains the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The major element of that being carbon. Okay, there are 4 groups of organic compounds, and all of these 4 are extremely important to life, and we will be discussing them for the rest of the year. They will come up over and over and over again. So it is best to make sure you understand them now in this unit so that as we go forward, you will have an understanding of why they are so important to life. Without them, we would not have life on Earth. So the first group is called lipids, also known as fats, carbohydrates, also known as sugar, proteins, and nucleic acid, also known as DNA. All of these organic compounds can exist in the form of a monomer or a polymer. Okay, so breaking that word down, a monomer means it's only one piece. Poly means it's many. So for example, if you're going to build a Lego tower, just one Lego would be considered the monomer. It's the smallest unit and it's your building block. A polymer would be your entire castle. It is made of lots of different little pieces and comes together as one big idea. So for example, starch is a very complex sugar. And so starch is a polymer, whereas the sugar is a monomer. You can see to the left here, starch is a chain of many different sugars. And we find that in things like potatoes and other complex carbs. Okay, so when you are eating starch, your body is actually taking a lot of energy to break all of these little bonds in between and break that down to sugar so that you can digest it, which is usually if you eat a large starchy meal, you feel very tired afterward because it's taking some energy to break that down. Cellulose is what we find in plants. So plant cell walls are made of this. So anytime you eat fruits and vegetables, you're getting cellulose. So same idea, it takes some energy to break that down. Glycogen is a natural polymer that you find in your body. Your body needs to break that down all the time too. So carbohydrates. The monomer of a carbohydrate is called a monosaccharide. Saccharide is the root word for sugar. So it just means one sugar. The polymer of carbohydrates is called a polysaccharide. So a complex carbohydrate. So for example, starch is an example of a polysaccharide. Okay, so we have our monosaccharide glucose and our polysaccharide cellulose. Now your body only knows how to process glucose. This is how your cells get energy. So it doesn't matter what kind of carb is going in your body has to convert whatever that polysaccharide is into its glucose so that it can use it. So sometimes think about the food that you're putting in your body and how complex those carbs can be. And that might explain why maybe you get tired often if you're eating a lot of complex carbs because your body is really working hard to try to break that down. Glucose is very, very essential for all living things. Without it, we can't do cell respiration, and without it, we don't get energy. Lipids. Lipids are fats, basically. So the monomer of that is called a fatty acid, and a polymer is a fat, a larger idea. And there's 2 kinds of fatty acids. A saturated fat is not so good for your health. You can see a picture of the saturated fat up here. And you could tell a saturated fat because it will be solid at room temperature. So for example, butter is a saturated fat. If you have like bacon grease, that saturated fat. So anything that's going to be solid at room temperature. Unsaturated fat has a little double bond in the middle of it, and it's pretty good for your health. You can use that to build your cells and things. And this is a liquid at room temperature. So this is the good fats that you hear on the news all the time. So this would be like olive oil, vegetable oil, even things like avocados have a lot of unsaturated fat in them. And our cell membranes in every cell is made up of phospholipids, which is a certain kind of fatty acid. Um, so we need that in order to build our cells, in order to keep our tissues healthy. So fats are good. If you're getting too much saturated fat, your body might just store that away because it doesn't really want to take the time to process it. And so that's when you get a buildup of excess fat in the body. Proteins. Proteins are essential for building your muscles and also making enzymes in your cells. So the monomer is an amino acid, and that is found in all your food that you eat. There are essential amino acids that you need to get. There are 8 essentials that you need in order that um, your body is not going to process on its own, so you need to get it in your diet. So there are some that are found in grains and beans, and if you eat a whole protein like eggs, milk, and meat, that'll give you all of the amino acids that you need. So your body puts together these amino acids in different organizations to make different proteins. Um, this is also a unique organic compound in that it also is using nitrogen um, besides the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. These proteins are made by your ribosomes in your cell, which are going to manufacture these for you. And basically, you're taking these proteins, and there are thousands of different kinds of proteins that your body needs, maybe to rebuild your muscle tissue. Maybe there are some that are going to be implanted into the cell membrane to help transport nutrients in and out. Enzymes are one that helps speed up chemical reactions in cells. So things like insulin are going to be a protein that is going to be used to break down your sugars. So you need to replenish your proteins to make sure that that is working. Nucleic acids are in every single cell as well. The monomer is called a nucleotide, and you put together a bunch of nucleotides and you get a nucleic acid. We're also going to add phosphorus as another element in this nucleic acid, which is different than the rest. And this is what makes up our DNA and our RNA. This is going to store genetic information in our cells, so obviously very important to our makeup. Now, if you are trying to get energy from organic compounds, this is the only one that you can't use for energy. So for example, if you are eating a normal meal, you're going to process those carbs first because that is pure sugar and you're going to be able to use that sugar right away. You're then going to start processing any lipids that are left over, and then you go to proteins. So for example, if you're anorexic and you stop eating, that means you're not getting the carbs in at all, so you have no sugars coming in. Your body will go and find all leftover sugar in your body and digest that. Then it's going to go and find all your fats in your body. It'll start with the bad fat, so you'll lose a lot of weight, but then it'll start eating the good fat, and your cell membranes will break down. The fats that are in your brain start breaking down. You could start having seizures from that because you have no good fat in your brain. Then your body's going to start processing your proteins, which is your muscle. So you start losing muscle mass, get really weak, and eventually you would die from not eating because your proteins are no longer there. Your body will never go after your DNA for nutrition because by the time it gets to the proteins, it's already too late for your body. So just keep that in mind that you need to keep ingesting healthy carbs, healthy lipids, healthy proteins so that your body can keep working at the pace that it is at.